so we're back at the Christmas roasting, and today I'm going to make a very interesting one called a Raan, and this is my take on a Raan. So especially because a whole leg of lamb is very difficult to come by in Portugal, surprisingly enough. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to make a Raan with lamb pieces. So here we have a wonderful leg of lamb that's actually been cut up into pieces, can you believe it? And I'm going to use this for my Raan. So we're going to start with presenting to you some wonderful tomatoes that are going to be used for the sauce, which will go into the pan later. And then you're going to need some onions. I would use quite a few onions. Right now I think we're going to use about 4 of this size onions. And we're going to use this wonderful yogurt from Vumba. The other day I used her sheep's yogurt. This time I'm using her goat's yogurt. So she has a goat and sheep farm out here in the mountains. It's on the way towards Kojo from here, and it's really a fabulous little place, and her animals are so well taken care of. So I'm so proud of Vumba, and I love their products, especially because they're in glass. And I'm a big user of products in glass because I believe in recycling. So thank you for this wonderful yogurt, and we're going to use this to marinate today. And then she's also got wonderful olive oil. Here we go, it's wonderful again. And I'm going to use this as well. So along with the yogurt, the olive oil and the tomatoes, we have a couple of spices, and some of them are going to be dry. And we'll need a roasting before we use them. Some of them are going to be powdered form. Some of them are going to be fresh. So let's go. So this is the cardamom. So we're going to use cardamom. We're going to use this peri-peri and paprika, the twins. So they are wonderful in combination. We're going to use a coriander, which is also very nice, a coriander powder, remember, because we're going into the oven. If you're going to put fresh coriander in the oven, immediately it's just going to wilt. So you may as well get yourself powder. And here we have cinnamon, which is wonderful and often used in Indian cuisine. So we're going to use some of that. Obviously salt, yeah, salt. Look, I'm easy with any salt you use. Some people say Himalayan salt, some people say this fresh salt from Portugal. Whichever salt you use, I don't mind. And here we have a garam masala and a curry powder. So those are our other twins. Before we start, what I'm going to do is cardamom needs a bit of toasting for it to release flavour. So I'm just going to grab a little pan, pop that on there, and I'm going to take about a cupful like that, and I'm going to just toss them on there to get some heat, and that will toast while we're busy. Okay, so anything that's like a whole form like that, you can then toast. A lot of the other things have actually been toasted, like your garam masala, and that has already been through a process, unless you get your raw spices, then you're going to, the seeds, you're going to go and toast them there. Right, so the other process we have, while we're busy talking, is I've got the garlic clove, and I've peeled it, and now I'm going to put it into a crusher and crush by hand. And here is our ginger. So the two also very often into Indian cuisine. In fact, many Asian cuisine. I'm just going to take a small piece of the ginger. I don't really need a lot for this, okay? It's not a soup or anything like that. It's just to give it a little bite, and also to help with the season, which is flu season. Very good for food. Okay, so we've got a tiny little segment of the ginger. I've left the skin on because it's not really going to affect us in the oven. Most of the time it will actually just disintegrate. So we can take that and we can pop that in there with our cloves, and we can go ahead and mash them together. Okay, if you've got kiddies, this is great in the kitchen. They can go ahead and do some pounding and get their frustrations out. Ooh, there it goes, jumps into there. Right, so it doesn't take long to do. You just crush it there. And yeah, we've been very lucky in these mountains. The weather's been very sunny, although it has had a bite of freshness to it, but we are enjoying our time here and getting used to our village people. So we crush it like that, and you can see all the juices are coming out, so that's going to go into our mix. So now we begin. Got all our little containers here, and I'm going to open this wonderful yogurt. It smells heavenly. I'm going to give it a taste and tell you how it is. That's nice. It has got a bit of a tang, which is actually going to be very good for this meal, because the sweeter yogurts are not so great. So you don't want a sweet yogurt ever in a curry, because you will taste it definitely, okay? So you want a more pure yogurt, and this one has got a nice tart tang to it, so it's going to help with cooking. So I'm going to be quite generous, and I'm actually going to use the whole tub. So we'll leave that there for now. It's all good, nothing's wrong with the yogurt. Always test your yogurt and make sure it's fine before you throw it in, huh? Alright, so we've got garam masala going in. We've got our curry powder going in. I would say it's about 3 teaspoons of each, right? I wouldn't want too much heat. It's not a very hot, it's not a vindaloo, so you don't want it too spicy, because otherwise some of your guests won't eat it. Okay, you can always add some chili on the side, so be careful and use moderation. This is a wonderful paprika. So we've got a capful there again. Right, and here is your curry. Some of these spices need to be kept in the fridge, right? Because of losing their strength very fast, and so you can put them in the airtight container in the fridge if you're at home, and that keeps them a little bit longer, right? And then we've got our garlic and ginger. I'm just going to spread that out. Is right, and this is the marinade, so it's going to sit in the fridge for a while, and we're going to use some of our olive oil. Olive oil is important, even though you've got the yogurt in. Remember, you always want some oil, and it firstly helps the spices to spread, and then tries to help prevent burning. If you're going to use intense heat, remember olive oil does burn as well, so use a cooking oil like a vegetable oil. Okay. But in this case, we're going to do a bit of a slower process, so it's not going to be that bad. Okay, so here we go with the yogurt, in with a whole lot. Very generous, because that's what's going to make this dish, is the yogurt. It has 2 properties, one the flavour, helping to spread the spices around, and the second one is to tenderize the meat. So with this dish you can actually use mutton or a goat as well. As long as it's of the ovine family, you will get a very nice result. So in it goes. And we're going to get our hands into here, and we're going to mix it together, right? You have to massage it into the meat, okay? For those who are vegan, sorry, don't watch this video, please. Right, so massage it in. And I would keep the fat fatty bits. You know, if there's any fatty bits on this, I'll keep it because it's going to help flavour the meat when it's cooking. Okay, don't trim everything off. Alright, because you will see some fat on your lamb, and I will keep it. So we're almost done. Give it a good mix. Now I'm going to wash my hands quickly. So yeah, I mean, we've got a lovely little kitchen here. This is one you can do in a very basic kitchen. As long as you've got an oven and a little stove top, you're fine to go. And I'll come and nip across. Show you this. Okay, so there you go, all splendid. Now that's going to go into the refrigerator. Cover it and put it in the refrigerator, and then I'm going to start making like a sauce to go into the pan with it when we start cooking. So that we'll get back to you now to start with onions and tomatoes. Okay, so I'm back with this wonderful sauce I'm going to make now. And for that I'm going to use tomatoes and onions. First part of it is to chop the onions finely and the tomatoes into little segments. And I've got salt, and remember the cinnamon, I did not put it into the marinade, and the cardamom that was on the stove. So we're going to pop that all into this sauce, and then from there that's going to go into the cook. So let's start. So I'm going to catch you later. I'm going to chop up these onions very finely, and then we're going to go and chop these tomatoes, and I'll get back to you just now once they're done. Okay, so now we've got our pot on the stove. We're going to throw in a little bit of olive oil again. We're going to toss in that cardamom. There we go. Then we're going to throw in some onions. And we want these really brown. So we'll get back to once they're brown. Okay, so it's lovely and brown. Before it gets too dark, add in the tomatoes. And there we go. Now to prevent burning, I'm going to add a little bit of water. That will stop everything sticking at the bottom. And then we're going to turn down the heat, add the lid, but first, don't forget to season, a bit of salt, and of course our cinnamon. I'm going to use quite a lot of cinnamon in this because it's a big dish, and otherwise it gets lost anyway. And there you have it. We're going to mix it in. Put the lid on, reduce the heat, and let that get into a nice sauce to add to our roast later. So the tomatoes have stewed down, so I'm going to leave them in the pot for later, and we're going to add that to our roasting tin before we put it in. Okay, so the lamb has been marinating, and now we're going to add the tomato that we did earlier. And we're going to mix this all in. And now that it's all mixed, we're going to put the oven on to 280 degrees and pop it in. Okay, there she goes. And we'll see her later. So now we're halfway through, and we're going to turn this over. And there it is. Raan. Let's try it out.